Welcome to Mission Admission, your one stop for all things Delhi University Admissions 2021. As the online admission process is already on, it's underway. On the show today, we have a panel of experts who will help you navigate through the process. We'll not just help you navigate through the process, we'll also look to answer your dilemmas and clear any doubts that you may have. Like I said at the outset, we have two very special guests on the show. Professor Simrit Kaur, Principal of the Shri Ram College of Commerce, SRCC, Delhi University, and Professor Rajiv Gupta, Chairperson of the Admission Committee, also Professor of Chemistry at the Delhi University. Thank you both very much for being with us. Professor Kaur, the cutoffs once again touching 100%. You're the principal of SRCC. Both Eco Honours and BCom Honours cutoffs are 100%. Many are saying this is not mission admission, this is mission impossible. Your reaction?
I totally agree with you. It's not too comfortable for us also to announce a cutoff of 100%. But basically, our cutoffs are totally based upon the data which we analyze, based upon what has been submitted to us, given to us by the University of Delhi portal. And the moment we looked up the Delhi University portal and aligned it with the number of sanctioned seats in our course, we realized that both for BA Economics Honours and BCom Honours, the number of students having 100% was much more than the number of the sanctioned strength in both the courses. So it automatically means that we cannot afford to have a cutoff which is below 100% in the first list. Because as per university guidelines, everybody who has marks above the cutoff have to be admitted in that particular course. So for both economics and commerce, number of students with 100% on the university portal exceed the number of sanctioned strength in the two courses of the college.
Right. There is, of course, a math behind this, and these are not cutoffs that are decided by you personally. But what are we to make of the fact that there are 70,000 students who've secured above a 90% marks in CBSE class 12, and this is only CBSE that we're looking at. We know that Delhi University is actually, a university that's sought after by state boards as well from all over the country. We have students from all over the country. What are we to make of these marks?
Ma'am, typically, if I speak just as a professor and a person, not necessarily Shri Ram College of Commerce, yes, students are very excited when they have 92, 93%, but the moment it comes to admission in University of Delhi colleges, the reality sets in that probably everything is not so green as what they had considered the day the results were out. Things have certainly changed from our times to today times. What was probably equivalent to 75% 3 decades earlier is now probably equivalent to a 99% or even higher. We have seen that in the kind of cutoffs which have changed over the decades. But the question now that we have to understand is, very rightly you also mentioned CBSE board exam results versus the state boards. And if there is no alignment between the kind of marks which the state boards are giving vis-a-vis CBSE, then obviously there may not necessarily be a level playing field for the students of the state vis-a-vis the central board.
Right. It's very interesting that you talk about this sort of discrepancy in the marking between state boards and CBSE, because many are actually saying that when it comes to Delhi University this year, the CBSE students might be at a disadvantage given the fact that the class 10 exams are being given the kind of weightage that they've been given, and state boards may actually take precedence. Let me then go across to Professor Gupta. Professor, how do you look at this? The fact that actually CBSE students this year could perhaps be at a disadvantage looking at these sky-high cutoffs because class 10 marks have been taken into consideration. Do you think that Delhi University should have made different provisions, or should all boards have sort of come together for a more uniform marking system?
I think you have already answered. We are the stakeholders, one of the stakeholders. We are at the receiving end. University of Delhi is for the pan-India. I think that everybody acknowledges we have applicants, students from all corners of the country. So for us, whether it is CBSE board, ICSE board, or any other state board is same. We cannot, we are not in a position to even discriminate between any of the boards. And this particular year, I would rather give, the advantage and the benefit of doubt to students. I think they have done very well in their internal assessment examinations, as well as the in-house examinations, and that's what is being reflected in the results. Coming back to your point is, as I said, we at the University of Delhi, for us, all boards are identical, and if someone has to look into this problem, I think it is probably some other apex bodies, for example, Ministry of Education, University Grant Commission, or maybe CBSE itself, taking cognizance of the situation, bringing all other state boards on board, and then thinking about it. Let me also put another word. I think Professor Simrit Kaur would agree. It's all about demand and supply. Number of seats in any of our colleges are limited. These are sanctioned strengths. We cannot change any seat, number of seats in any of the colleges.
Yes.
So what actually happens if there are more number of applicants with higher percentage, the percentage cutoff would go high. I'll just conclude with one line that this is the first cutoff list. Once the subsequent cutoff list start coming into place, these numbers will certainly go down.
All right. So this is the first cutoff list. So students shouldn't lose heart. But as promised, I'm not going to be the one asking all the questions on the show. This is a call-in show, the numbers flashing on our screens, and we have two of the most, expert voices on the show to answer those questions. So I'm going to take our first caller, Alvin, who's on the line with us. But I also want to say that I'm being joined by two students, Hunar Kaushal and Anya Sharma. They also have questions for you. But first, let's go across to Alvin, dialing in from Kerala. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. My question to both of them. So I am from south of India, and for us, getting an admission in colleges in Delhi is our dream. And I studied in Kerala State Board. Therefore, if your cutoff is 100%, our dream of studying in Delhi University colleges becomes it becomes impossible. So my request to both of them is to have a consideration for us from South, so that we may also get an opportunity to be in the capital city. Is it possible for you to have a special consideration for us, ma'am?
All right.
My question is to both of them.
I think this is not just, Alvin, a question that you have, but I think you resonate the voice of students across the country. Professor Kaur, if you want to come in here, do you think these 100% cutoffs are fair? It doesn't really guarantee a level playing field. I know I asked you that question at the very outset. Do you perhaps think, therefore, that an entrance exam would be, something that would give students a more level playing field?
Ma'am, there are pros and cons of both the systems. As Professor Rajiv rightly mentioned, it's very important to have a multiplier effect or a multiple to which you have to convert the state boards or the CBSE to a national level comparative analysis. Otherwise, we do realize that a particular board would have majority of the students being admitted to a particular college. For instance, even since yesterday that we have been admitting, till now, I'm not saying that the trends are expected to continue, but probably 30% or a little higher number is from Kerala state. So we do realize that 1 in 3 students in both my BCom and my BA Economics Honours is a state board and a particular state board. We may change the trends over time, but that has been the trend in the past 2 days, and this is the data I'm quoting until 4 o'clock. Yes, it's good to have a national exam, which is a common entrance exam, because it helps bring everybody onto a common platform. Undoubtedly, that is one of the ways to go forward. I do agree with you on that, ma'am, because otherwise, for a central university specifically, ma'am, because we have to respect all regions, all kinds of geographical areas at par and treat them at par, unless a specific multiple has been given to us, whether you have to multiply the CGPA with a 9.5 or a 10 or whatever it might be.
Okay. Professor Gupta, would you like to weigh in here?
So Ministry of Education had constituted a committee last year, and this committee has already submitted a recommendation about the Central University Common Entrance Test.
Yes.
In fact, this was supposed to be reality this particular year itself. But then for certain reason, it could not be implemented. And certainly COVID has also contributed to a large extent because,
Yes.
considering 43 universities together, holding these examinations in various cities would have been a challenge, I think. And that is the reason I think from next year, this would indeed a reality. But I think I will second Professor Kaur. It's like, both pros and cons are in place. And one has to look into both these factors, whether to consider only 10+2 board results
Yes.
or entrance examination.
Yes.
As an individual, I feel we'll have to, consider both of them together.
So perhaps some amount of weightage distribution between the two, if that's something that the university or the education ministry would consider next year. Hunar Kaushal, a 12th standard commerce pass out, also a DU aspirant, is with us on the broadcast. Hunar, do you have a question?
Yes, I do have a question. As Professor Kaur mentioned before, the number of seats available is way less than the students who've actually scored 100%. So given that in the first cutoff, about 9 courses in Delhi University have given out cutoffs of 100%, how are the colleges planning to accommodate so many students given that over admissions might actually happen because colleges can't say no to the applicants? So how would they accommodate so many students on the same campus?
Professor Kaur, it's a demand and supply question.
Fine. I think it's important to understand that when the students are asked to submit and put in the data, upload the data onto the university portal, when we see a number, let's say 800 with 100%, at that point in time, we are not sure whether the students are preferring a stream of sciences or commerce or economics. So there is a duplicacy happening at that level. So if we have announced 100% as the cutoff, simply because there are far larger number of students who have 100%, it's only on the day of the admission that we come to know what proportion or what subset of that is actually interested to have commerce or separately economics.
Right.
So that is something which the students have to keep in mind. The numbers we are looking on the portal are magnified numbers. And the actual number which is interested to take up admissions in a stream is a subset of that universe. And also, because we have to be a little cautious because the admission policy is such nobody can be refused, we gradually try to come down.
Right. But, when you have that no refusal policy, in a certain sense, it also means that the cutoffs remain high in subsequent lists as well. So that's one of the fears with this. Anya, do you have a question? Anya is also class 12 student. You pursued humanities. You're a DU aspirant as well. Go ahead.
So I would like to put forward a question to both sir and ma'am, and that is, so both sir and ma'am had mentioned that DU will be having an entrance exam later for the upcoming batch. But this year as well, during the beginning of this year, news was floating
Right.
out that
Anya, I do believe that you're asking a question about the entrance exam, but your audio is not clear. So we're going to try and fix that audio and come back to you. Meanwhile, we have a lot of questions coming in from our audiences online as well. Professor Gupta, if I can ask you, one of the students has actually asked whether Arundhati Rai has asked online whether the cutoffs will come down later. Now, we know that typically the first list, the cutoffs are high, and then the cutoffs in subsequent lists come down later. How many such lists can we expect, and how much will the cutoffs come out by? Can you give some clarity on that at this point?
Okay, so the initial plan is to go for 5+1+1. So these 5 lists are going to be general cutoff list. One is the special cutoff list, which will come immediately after the third cutoff list. It is meant for the applicants who may have missed the opportunity to complete their admission formalities. And then after the fifth, there is a special drive cutoff list, which is meant for reserve category students.
Okay.
Having said that, everything depends how many seats are vacant, and subsequently more cutoff lists are going to come up. And also, the cutoff percentage will also go down substantially because we have to also understand few other factors which are very important for DU admissions. These are like, certain external factors. For example, the NEET results have not been declared. The JEE results have not been declared. even our own DUET, Delhi University Entrance Test, we have something called JAT examination, which are certain specialized professional courses.
Yes.
So those results are also going to come up around third week of October.
Right.
So once these results are out, there is going to be quite a bit of lateral movement.
Yes.
Students migrating, moving to certain courses, and then that also creates large number of vacancies in all colleges.
All right. So right now also the volume of demand is high, you're saying, because there are some key exam results that have not been declared. So people want to keep Delhi University as an option open. That makes a lot of sense as well. But I know there's Gautam Sanjay who's asked about entrance tests in DU, and I think that's a question that we've already addressed. The fact that this is something which is in the pipeline, where both your your 12 standard marks as well as the entrance test is something that will be considered. But Professor Kaur, again I'll come to you on the cutoffs, and SRCC particularly has the highest cutoffs when it comes to BCom and economics, and these are very popular courses across the university. You explained why the cutoffs are so high, but there's a student who's got 95% marks in class 12 and is not going to be able to secure admission in his preferred course in DU. He's asking, is this not a failure of the system?
No. You have to improve your mindset, whosoever the student is. Just because you have not been able to get in a particular college does not mean it's a failure or an end of life or the end of whatever the journey you have planned. There are so many alternatives available, and I'm sure sometimes what you aspire, you don't get it, makes you a tougher man and you are more capable of facing the world. And one should never underestimate one's own potential based upon only that particular marking. Yes, it is true that being a part of the university system, admissions in SRCC and in any college of university primarily will depend upon your class 12th marks. But there's so much to life,
right?
And not just your admission to a particular course at a particular number.
I'm so glad that you said that, Professor Kaur, because so many students feel disheartened when they look at these cutoffs. Also, like Professor Gupta explained, this is just the first list, and basis the number of seats that are occupied, there will be subsequent lists. So 95%, no small amount of marks by any stretch of imagination. So keep your eyes and ears open on subsequent lists as well, because you may stand a good chance. We have a caller, Gunisha from Chennai, joining us. Go ahead.
Good evening. My question is for Professor Rajiv Gupta. My question is, when DU has noticed that there's such a big difference between the marks scored by different students in different boards, why is DU shirking its responsibility and delegating it to the Ministry or the CBSE? Why doesn't DU just rationalize the cutoffs across boards so that CBSE students aren't put at a disadvantage?
Okay, that's an important question, Professor Gupta, because there was talk, wasn't there, of the university at some point mulling, considering class 11 and 12 marks. But then, there was a blanket rule applied. We know the grading system has been different across the country. The same question of whether CBSE students have actually been put at a disadvantage at, for DU admissions this year. Professor Gupta.
I think, I have already clarified that we at the University of Delhi, for us, all students across the boards are identical. There is no difference. Similarly, we are not the right people. We are one of the universities. Remember, there are 43 central universities in our country. And admission process, particularly undergraduate admission process, is more or less similar in most of the universities. Yes, the newer central universities, they go for the entrance examination, and that's what the Ministry of Education is considering as an option for all central universities. But then for us, all state boards are identical. We don't, we are not competent enough to discriminate between board A and board B.
Professor Gupta, larger systemic problems like you're saying, which is the fact that the state board and the central boards this year have not had a uniform grading policy. It's also been unprecedented because of the pandemic. So I think, CBSE students really are feeling that they've got the short end of the bargain here, because they are at a disadvantage. The number of 100% scorers in CBSE has been much less. But Ranjit from Delhi is dialing in with a question. Go ahead.
Ma'am, good evening to you. I just wanted to check. I just went through the Delhi University website, which says that once you apply in one of the colleges, you cannot change over to other college. Is that true?
Professor Gupta, question on the online admission on how many colleges and courses you can apply to.
So, in a given cutoff list, a person can select one course and a single college. But yes, possibilities are there that a person can always cancel, and in the second or the subsequent cutoff list, he or she is again eligible to apply for a course and a college.
That's an important clarification as well, and I think we've managed to restore the line with Anya. Anya, go ahead with your question.
Right. So as I was saying, my question is to both sir and ma'am. Like we said earlier, that entrance exam would be introduced, and I think it's a wonderful measure to counter this sort of discrepancy that occurs almost every year, and questions arise between the discrepancy between state boards as well as the national board. So wouldn't it be better to have a centralized board? Of course, it would have its pros and cons, but instead of having students compete with each other who come from different boards at the college level, wouldn't it be better for them to receive the same education throughout their school years?
Well, again, these are larger systemic questions, but Professor Kaur, if you'd just like to, share your views with Anya.
I think I'll speak from a perspective of public policy.
Yes.
It's always good to have differentiation in the kind of course curriculums and competition. Let competition prevail, let systems develop. Having a simple monopoly kind of a curriculum, probably for the whole of the nation, which is so different across gender, across geography, across digital, I would promote competition, ma'am. Let there be state boards. And if a particular student is interested to have admission in a particular area, there could be a separate competition for it. That's my take, but as I mentioned, these are issues at a larger forum.
Larger systemic issues, and we'll have that conversation as well. Very quickly, before I wrap up, Professor Gupta, the physical verification of documents, right now students are submitting them online. How is this going to happen? Could you just briefly elaborate?
Okay, so we already have a API interface with CBSE. So for CBSE, we don't require any verification because we do have direct access to the database of CBSE.
Okay.
So that solves nearly 70% of our verification part. For the remaining 30%, it's not that we need to check each and every certificate for each and every candidate. Once in a while, there may be a situation where there may be some sort of doubt about a particular certificate. It may be a category certificate, it may be academic credential certificate, or so on.
So when you do come to resume your classes, it's a good idea to carry your originals because they may be checked. I'm afraid I'm completely out of time. I apologize for the questions we haven't been able to take, but we'll try and address these questions on a daily basis. Once again, Professor Kaur, Professor Gupta, thank you so much for your time, for joining us, for taking on questions. And well, all the best to you, Anya and Hunar. I wish you all the very best for your admissions. Thank you all very much for joining us.